Guys, today is a momentous and joyous day inside of Israel. Thank God another Israeli hostage was just rescued from Gaza, from the direct clutches of Hamas, from the clutches of evil. And this time it happened in a tunnel. For the first time, an Israeli hostage was rescued directly from an underground tunnel inside of Gaza. I've been scouring through the headlines this morning trying to kind of make sense of the story. There's not a lot of details out so far, but I compiled as much information as I could. We'll try to get it as accurate as we can. Obviously, this is a breaking news story, so we don't know a lot yet. I found this video that's making its rounds through Twitter that's really, really moving. Apparently, this is family members of the hostage that was rescued in the hospital coming to greet him when they heard the news, and it looks like they maybe went to the wrong spot. They're getting updated information. They're running to find their family member who just spent 10 months in the grip of hell inside of Gaza. These guys are running. It looks like they went to the wrong spot in the hospital. They got updated information, and they're going to find this one guy's brother. I'm not sure who the other guys are, if they're his sons or some of his brothers as well. This is a Bedouin Israeli that was rescued from a tunnel inside of Gaza. There's a Times of Israel article that did a good job of breaking down a lot of the information that we know so far. They said an Israeli hostage was rescued by IDF troops from a tunnel in southern Gaza Strip earlier today, the military announces. The rescued hostage is Qaid Farhan al-Qadi, probably not pronounced correctly, 52, from a Bedouin community near the southern city of Rahat, who was working as a guard at a packing factory in Kibbutz Magen on October 7th. Al-Qadi was abducted by Hamas terrorists from the nearby community of Miftahim. Al-Qadi was found inside a tunnel by commandos of the Navy's elite Shaitet 13 unit. The operation was led by IDF Southern Command and Shin Bet Security Agency and the IDF's 162nd Division. He is said to be in good health. The military describes this rescue operation as complex. Also, this is an interview with Al-Qadi's brother, I believe, after seeing his brother alive and not thinking he'd probably ever see him again returning from Gaza. Really touching as well. The person filming the video is asking, how he's related. He's saying, oh, I'm his brother. And then to get his brother back, he's saying it's like a newborn baby, a new baby being born, even better than that because they never expected him to return. And he's thanking everyone involved in the rescue operation. Just really, really touching stuff here. And then here is some other information that I was able to find from various reports, just compiling from different sources. They said as of 11 a.m., IDF forces began expanding activity in Rafah based on intelligence received about the presence of a living hostage in the area. The IDF forces started scanning. A golden tip was received about a tunnel shaft from residents of Gaza that there were Israeli abductees. 8 terrorists opened fire on IDF forces during the activity were eliminated from the air, and some by exchange of fire on the ground as well. The abductee was located in a tunnel shaft. IDF forces are still scanning the area to find new intelligence, so it's possible there may be other hostages as well. Like I said, this is very much a breaking story happening as we speak. The operation was led by Division 162, Brigade 401, the Nachal Brigade, Yahalom Anti-Tunnel Special Forces, along with Shaitet 13 Naval Commandos. Then Yahu spoke on the phone with the rescued hostage. He was congratulating him, telling him that the entire nation of Israel is celebrating his return, are excited by his release, and that they're doing everything they can to get the rest of the hostages back as quickly as they possibly can. I want to take this chance to remind everyone who's watching that the impetus is constantly being put on Israel right now for not bringing the hostages home, as if the ceasefire deals with Hamas keep getting blown by a failure of Israel to negotiate with Hamas, to negotiate correctly, to accede to Hamas's terms. And this is patently insane. This is really, really ridiculous. Israel is the one who is attacked here. Hamas butchers killed Israelis and took Israelis back to Gaza as hostages. Israel's doing everything they can to get them back, but hostage situations are often very, very, very complex, and especially in situations like this where Hamas took hostages to Gaza and now has them underground in tunnels embedded in civilian populations. It's very complex. There's only so much Israel can do. Obviously, they're working night and day to try to bring them home, but the impetus is on Hamas to return these hostages. It's not on Israel. Israel's doing everything they can. including negotiating as well, but they have to think of a lot more than just bringing these hostages home in these negotiations. They can't just willy-nilly release thousands of terrorists from Israeli prisons or accede to whatever demands that Hamas makes, because they have their future to think about. They have the future of Israeli civilians to think about, and that if they release terrorists from prison, they'll go on to commit more terrorist attacks. They'll go on to kidnap more Israelis. If they allow Hamas to continue existing, they'll go on to commit more October 7th attacks. They vowed to. That's their stated purpose. And so Israeli leaders are doing a good job of trying to balance that, do everything they can to bring those hostages home. But overall, there's a lot to consider here, more than just bringing these people home from the hell that they're living in right now. So thank God for bringing this man home to his family once again. I heard that he became a grandfather for the first time while in captivity, so he gets to see his grandchild for the first time as a free man in 10 months. And also special thanks to all the amazing men and women of the IDF who worked overtime to make this happen. Every operation like this is the result of thousands of hours or tens of thousands of hours of surveillance and boots on the ground work. A lot of men and women putting their lives on the line to defend God's people and really the free world. And many of those soldiers have come home with severe injuries that have changed their lives forever. For example, Lieutenant Colonel Mayin Mullah was battling Hamas in Gaza when he was ambushed and struck by over 140 pieces of shrapnel. Mayan has already endured 7 surgeries and is now permanently disabled, unable to work or be with his wife and young children as he rehabilitates. Also, there's Sa'ar Axelrod, a young father who was gravely wounded by Hezbollah rocket, suffering a skull fracture, brain injury, and broken bones. He remains in the hospital, unable to go home to his pregnant wife and their 10-month-old son, whom he may never be able to pick up again. These brave soldiers gave everything to protect our freedom. Now they need our help to support their families while they recover. The financial burden they face is immense. Please consider giving generously at the link in the description below to provide critical support for food, housing, childcare, and more. Help the wounded warriors who sacrificed everything for Israel and for the free world as we know it today. In other news, there was a scare in Samaria yesterday. There was an Arab car driving through Tepuach Junction, which is a very central junction that we drive through a lot when we're in Israel. And both a civilian and a soldier independently reported hearing a girl screaming in Hebrew from a car. The car had Palestinian license plates, and so they heard a girl screaming from the backseat of the car. They reported it into the military. A kidnapping was immediately suspected. It was a dark silver car. You can see a picture of it here. The IDF quickly blocked off roads to search for the car, putting up checkpoints between Malay, Ephraim, and Migdalim. And they found the vehicle, amazingly, in a nest, a sea of a lot of Palestinian vehicles. They were able to find them with the checkpoints. But when they questioned everyone involved, it seems like it was a false alarm. So thank God for that it does seem like it was a false alarm. We don't know what actually happened there, but kidnappings like these have happened before and have been absolutely awful. The chances of, if that was an Israeli girl kidnapped by Palestinians, the chances of her survival would have been really slim to none. Like I said, we've had situations like these before, and it's a huge scare. It really is. Every time that there's a suspected kidnapping, it's terrible, terrible for the people that live in Samaria. We need to continue to pray. There has been a long string of terrorist attacks over the last couple of weeks happening in Judea and Samaria. It seems like there's a lot of unrest happening right now, probably in sympathy with Gaza and with also what's happening up north with Hezbollah. We really need to continue to pray for Israel, for continued security inside of Judea and Samaria. Also for Israel to have wisdom with these hostage operations in Gaza, that the remaining hostages would be brought home. There remain hostages inside of Gaza that are still alive. I really believe that there are hostages that are alive. We don't know how many. Many of those who are kidnapped probably are no longer living, but there has to be more alive. With every rescue that Israel does like this inside of Gaza, we find out that they're healthy and that they're well. It gives us hope. It gives us hope that there are more, that maybe God is protecting some inside of Gaza still to this day that are waiting for rescue. We need to send a strong message of support to Israel that they have whatever it takes to go in and bring their people home. We will pray for them. We will support them in any way that we possibly can. We will support the wounded warriors of the IDF that are wounded in the line of battle, in the call of what they have been doing inside of Gaza and also up north with Hezbollah as well. We need to continue to pray for that situation. With Hezbollah, it seems like we averted a major aggression that almost happened by Hezbollah against Israel's north. God enabled an amazing response by Israel towards Hezbollah. But we need to continue to pray that that situation would come to a good conclusion, that Israel would be able to strike all the targets they need to strike, that Israel would be able to bring back peace to the northern border once again, that there wouldn't just be this, there wouldn't be a new status quo, a new dangerous status quo where Hezbollah hangs out on the border. Israel maintains some level of security. We need a good status quo, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We need to bring back peace to the northern border, a state of security where Hezbollah is moved off the border. The threat of Hezbollah is destroyed, whatever that looks like. The threat of Hezbollah is destroyed for Israel. And we need to pray for Israel to have wisdom on how exactly to do that without provoking a much broader regional conflict that Israel doesn't want to fight. Guys, don't forget to consider supporting the IDF's injured soldiers. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I love engaging with you there. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel.